Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Transformers Premium Scale Threezero unboxing and review video. Now today we're going to be taking a look at none other than the Premium Scale Bumblebee figure based off his appearance in the Bumblebee solo movie, my all-time favourite live-action Transformers film, and finally we have a Premium Scale rendition of that version of Bumblebee. And of course we saw the Prime is on the way too. I couldn't be more excited to get that one in as well. Now I want to say a huge thank you to Threezero for sending me this pre-production sample so I can give you awesome ladies and gents a first look at this figure. Now I actually already saw it at San Diego and I was super impressed with the attention to detail. I love my deluxe scale Bumblebee. He is absolutely amazing, don't get me wrong, but this guy really does take your breath away. He's big, the detail is fantastic, but without spoiling the review, we'll get to that in just a second. Now, if you do want to order this, he is going up right now with toyswonderland.com, and the link for that is down in the description below, so definitely go ahead and check them out. Also, while you're down there, why not hit that subscribe and bell notification icon so you're notified as soon as brand new content goes live on the channel. Either way, what we're going to do now is get the box laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. And here we have the box art for Bumblebee himself. It's a really nice artistic representation of Bumblebee. I wouldn't be surprised if this would be in the future some sort of movie poster or something like that for a future Transformers movie, because it really does have that vibe about it. Really nice silhouette of Bumblebee in the background, and of course, Bee right up there on the front. Now there's no mistaking which film this figure is based off. You can see Bumblebee right on the front there, and this is of course the premium scale figure. Now you do have a really nice image of Bee on the side there, and an absolutely enormous Autobot logo on the back. Now because this sort of plastic piece over the top, which is a really nice high gloss, is a little bit challenging to take off on camera, I'm going to take that off now and then put a cut in here so you can see the foam inside. Now I apologize for the super bright image, but this foam is a shade of grey and it's very light, so you can see that it is getting a little bit washed out, but you can also see an Autobot logo on the front there and then Transformers Bumblebee down the side. Now the cool thing is that they actually separate the accessories and the figure himself for transport, so you can make sure that your figure is not going to arrive damaged. Now of course, first things first, you do have all the instructions. I highly recommend reading this because there are a lot of bits and pieces, moving parts on this figure. The Threezero Transformers releases are always super complex in terms of their engineering, so do be careful when you are moving yours around. Definitely take note of the articulation. Now in terms of the bits and pieces he comes with, you can see a bunch of accessories, and don't worry, we'll go through these in, of course, a lot more detail in just a second. Now here we have the figure himself laying there in his foam prison, and he looks absolutely fantastic. Let's get him out here. I wonder how heavy he is. I can already feel it. He is an absolute chunker, and I love it. He has a lot of weight, especially down here in the feet. There is some die cast in this figure. That's something that hasn't been present in the premium scale figures before, as far as I'm aware, at least all of the ones I've owned. So this is definitely a change of pace for Threezero, and don't worry, we will get all of this foam stuff off the figure when we take a closer look. Either way, what we're going to do now is get all of the accessories laid out in the light box and take a look at everything he comes with. And here we have all of Bee's accessories. Now, being a bigger boy, he does come with a hell of a lot of stuff, which is a real bonus when you're getting those premium scale figures from Threezero. Now, let's take a look at this piece first. The piece that I know a lot of people were asking for with the deluxe figure. Well, now we have it here with the premium version, and it looks absolutely outstanding. It is also rather sharp, so be careful not to prick your finger on the end of this, but it does look really, really good. I love the attention to detail, all the little Cybertronian glyphs on there. They are on both sides. It's very, very nicely painted, weathered and detailed. The serrated edge of the blade as well is also nicely weathered. You can see a little bit of sort of rust work on the side there, and of course a bunch more detail on the back side here. It really does look like rusted, worn out metal. This is where Threezero comes into their own. They kill it with details such as this. Now let's take a look at his arm blaster. You can see it looks really good, very, very nicely painted, of course, but it does have a party trick, and let's get to that just now. All you have to do is dismantle it. It literally splits in half, flick the switch, and you can already see it. It lights up, and it looks really, really good while doing so. Now, it is really, really bright. You can see there it is actually visible on my hand, even under the super bright studio lights, so exercise a bit of caution. Don't look down the barrel of this gun for an extended period of time. We don't want you ruining your eyesight. But of course, course, it does just attach onto the arm. As you'd expect, you literally pull off the other one, plug this one in. Do be careful with these pieces when you are bending the elbow. They are a little bit fragile, so as I said, do be careful, and we'll cover that a little bit more in the articulation segment. And don't worry, I will show you how all of these bits and pieces attach onto the figure himself. Now let's take a look at the two different options for the door wings. Now as you can see, these are the folded up ones. They sort of slot along the side of his back there. They are a lot smaller than these ones. They were actually intending to use these as the model for the movie, but I think that was a sort of last minute decision where they changed them to these right here. I don't know which I prefer. These bigger wings are sort of more iconic for that movie version of Bumblebee, but still the smaller ones also give a nice sleek silhouette, so I really don't know yet which one I do prefer. I'll decide, of course, when we have them on the figure, but of course the rust work on this and also the pitting and weathering details on the windows. You even have an inside of a door detail here. It looks really, really fantastic. I love all the weathering, even on the inside, the little pocket for the door there. It looks absolutely outstanding. And of course, it's on both. They both look equally as good as one another. Now, these little pieces, you're probably thinking to yourself, what on earth are these? Well, these are interchangeable eyebrow expressions. He comes with a bunch, and I will show you what they look like on the figure, but there's sad, concerned. There's a whole bunch of different looks you can give the figure. This is something that I honestly wasn't expecting at all, but I'm so very glad that they put this in here. It's a very, very nice attention to detail and something that simply wouldn't have been possible at the smaller deluxe scale. Therefore, it's more possible now, of course, in the bigger scale, being the premium version. Now, this little piece right here is a little welder that attaches to his finger. It's a nice soft rubbery plastic, so you don't have to worry about this breaking over time. Now, you're probably also wondering what these pieces are. Well, they are sort of replacements for these guys right here. You can see that they are used to attach these door wings. I'm pretty sure we'll have to see how that works in just a second, but I'm fairly sure they attach onto these pieces here, then you attach it to the back of B himself. Now, of course, he does come with two different head options. Both of them have light up features. You simply click the Autobot logo, you get the blue eyes, click it again, and you get the red eyes. How cool is that? You get the evil murder bee, as they said. He looks really, really good. And the weathering, of course, is immaculate on both head sculpts. Which one I'm leaning towards for my final display, I don't know yet, to be honest with you. But this one is sort of catching my eye a little bit. I love how angular and sharp the nose is on this bee. He really looks quite mean. And of course, the little ear antenna pieces are articulated as you would expect, just like the smaller version of Bumblebee. So they have packed a lot of detail, a lot of weathering into a really nice, big, premium scale version of Bumblebee. Either way, what we're going to do now is get B himself out here and take a closer look. And here we have the Threezero premium scale Bumblebee standing straight up and down in the lightbox, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. And I have to say, he looks absolutely phenomenal. I thought that we'd reached peak Bumblebee with the deluxe scale version, but I take that back. I think this one definitely takes the cake as the ultimate solo movie Bumblebee. Now, for those of you who are heading down to the comments right now saying, how can it be the ultimate Bumblebee if it doesn't transform? I only want Transformers that can transform. Well, unfortunately, this seems to be the only way that we can get a super high-end, super highly articulated action figure version of Bumblebee that's incredibly faithful to the on-screen version, the CGI model, in real life, tangible figure format. And also I say to you, my Superman figure can't actually fly. So let me know what you think of that down in the comments below. But either way, silly argument, I know, but I really don't think that that should be a factor. Go out, find yourself this version of Bumblebee if Bumblebee, the solo movie, was your favorite Transformers film, like it was mine, and I know it was for a lot of people, because you're doing yourself a disservice not to at least consider picking up this guy right here, because just standing there in a standard basic museum pose, he still absolutely steals the shelf, and of course, steals your heart. Either way, what we're going to do now is punch in and take a closer look at the details. And here we have B himself up close and personal, and I have to say, this guy looks absolutely fantastic. And after we've taken a look at the figure himself and swapped out all the bits and pieces, taken a look at all the little gimmicks, I will show you how to do the eyebrow articulation on Bumblebee, which is a really nice, awesome feature that I honestly wasn't expecting. Now, as you can see, I do have the lights all currently lit up. These pieces, the fact that they light up and can still move around as much as they do, really is quite surprising. I honestly didn't expect that. The smaller smaller guy didn't have light up headlights, so I'm glad that they popped it in the bigger version. Now you can also see his eyes are on and he looks absolutely fantastic. Of course, switching him to the red and turning them off, you can easily interchange the heads if you'd like to go for the more angry style Bumblebee, which I'm actually a little bit partial to at the moment. I don't know why I'm so taken by it. It looks really, really good, but of course it's up to you which way you want to go in terms of how you display your Bumblebee figure. As I said though, I'm leaning towards that angry bee sculpt. Now in terms of all the detail, it looks really, really good. It's basically that smaller version that's been turned up to 11. All of the actual rust work, it's visceral. You can feel it. It's not just painted on there. There is actual texture. In fact, it's so good that if this was an actual car, it's something that you probably wouldn't want to touch for fear of getting some tetanus. That's how good it really does feel and how lifelike it actually is, including, of course, all the detail on the back, real rotating wheels, and of course, the wings, which look absolutely exceptional. Now, they do move around and pivot, and if you did want to interchange them for the bigger style wings, you can, of course, do that. It's fairly straightforward. They just are on this little peg type mechanism. You plug them in and away you go. Now I do advise sort of holding them in place while you do articulate them so they don't pop off, but they are on ball joints so you get a bunch of range of motion out of them, and you can decide which sort of look you want for Bumblebee, whether you want the wings up or of course the wings folded away. Again, I'm more partial to the more accurate look from the movie in terms of having the wings folded away. That's just how they were in the film, and that's kind of, I think, what I'm going to go for in my display, but either way you go, I'm sure you're going to be happy with your choice. Now the detail on this piece is so absolutely fantastic. Just turning off one of the lights, so hopefully you can actually see what I'm about to talk about, but the detail on this piece is so in depth that even on the headlight itself, there's a tiny little H4 logo, which I'm pretty sure is the type of bulb that this particular headlight from the VW Beetle does take. All of the actual texture on the inside there does look to be accurate to the actual car. That is next level stuff that I honestly wasn't expecting, and this next feature might actually blow you away. Get ready for it. Once you slide this piece up, there is the radio that B has on his chest that, of course, they were playing around with the different tapes and he shot them out of his chest there. You can simply slide that up and there it is. That is so darn awesome. Something that I absolutely wasn't expecting. And again, it's stuff like that right there that show Threezero absolutely love Transformers and love their work. When they put pieces like that in there, it's just absolutely next level. Now, of course, switching out the bits and pieces on the arms, pretty straightforward. You can just remove this back piece here and then you plug in the blade very easily, and it looks pretty darn good. Don't worry, you will see this again posed up a little bit better at the later half of the video, but just know that it looks absolutely awesome and it's pretty straightforward and easy to attach. Literally just pull that piece off and then you can install the regular arm cover. Now there is of course that little welding piece that he does have. You literally just extend the finger and they are all on ball joints, so you get a bunch of range of motion out of them. Just plug that in there and there you have his little welding doohickey and you can just attach it to his finger there. Very straightforward, and again, a nice little gimmick that I honestly wasn't expecting. Now in terms of installing the Canon, this is a little bit more difficult. You simply slide off the arm. I literally say it's difficult and then say simply, but either way you get the point, and then this piece does just slide on there. Now again, it takes a little bit of fiddling to get on there. It's rather tight, but it's better that it be tight and not fall off than sort of floppy and fall all over the place. But there you have the Canon on there. Again, you'll see this posed up a lot better at the later part of the video, but it definitely does pose on there very nicely. You can see what I mean about these pieces. They do flex around, but when you bend the elbow, just definitely be careful. Either way, what we're going to do now is pan the camera down and give you a closer look at the rest of Premium B. Panning the camera down, as you can see, the rest of B looks equally as good and detailed as the upper half. He has those big honkin' moon boots and they look really, really awesome. They're fully realized in die cast as well, which is a really, really nice touch. But starting off with all the detail in his lower abdomen section, you can see he does have the actual timing belt style piece. I don't actually know much about cars, so you'll have to let me know if I'm right in saying that, but it is actually rubberized and can move. That's really, really awesome. It also have a bunch of other bits and pieces, which we will go over in the articulation segment. Now you can see he does have his little turn signals there. They don't light up, which I don't blame Threezero at all. It would have been very, very difficult to put a light up feature in a piece that can move in so many different ways, but I'm glad they did it for the headlights on the chest. Now in terms of the rest of the legs, you can see equally as well detailed. There's a bunch of extra detail on the inside that'll get revealed when we do bend the knee a little bit later in the video, but just know that there is is even more packed into this leg right here. Now around the back you do have the brake lights. They're nice and translucent. They look like proper car lights, and as I said, all of this detail is textural, visceral. You can feel it. It's absolutely fantastic, and this foot right here has a lot of weight and a lot of die cast, and that I absolutely love. Now I just quickly wanted to show off the different eyebrow attachments for the premium scale Bumblebee figure. Now that's literally the first time I've ever said eyebrow attachments in a review, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to be the last. Either way, taking off the top of the helmet, this is how you install them. You can see a nice little peg point there, so you can install your fingernail and remove the eyebrows that he does come with. Now you can see the hole is actually keyed to only go one way, so there's no mistaking which way you have to install his different eyebrow attachments, and when you do install them, it really does drastically change the expression of Bumblebee here. So I'm very glad that Threezero went all out and installed the ability to have these interchangeable eyebrows. Now this, I'm pretty sure, is considered his squinting face. You can see he's kind of concentrating, his brows are a little bit more downwards facing, but nowhere near as downwards facing as the next pair, which actually is his sad eyes. So these are the more sort of cute eyes. You can see they are definitely very, very downward slanting. He sort of has a Baby Yoda vibe about him, and I really do like the way that looks. As I said, this simply isn't possible in the deluxe scale, so I'm glad they went all out with this bigger version. Now the last pair of eyebrows might potentially be my favorite. They're not too dissimilar to the ones that he comes installed with out of the box, but when we switch the eyes over to the red, you slant him down a little bit, these are considered the angry eyes, and they do look really good. And let's take a moment to appreciate the detail on the inside of his little irises there. You can see all the tech detail. It looks fantastic, especially coupled with these more angry looking eyebrows. Just going over articulation on the premium scale B. Now this guy is incredibly well engineered, very intricate, so I'm going to be quite careful. When you get yours in hand, I'm sure you'll discover bits and pieces that can move that I didn't mention in this video. There is so much that's packed into this guy that is really surprising when you start articulating him what really can and can't move. And as I said, this is a pre-production sample, it's a review sample. I'm going to be a little bit more careful. Now starting off with the head sculpt itself, it is on a nice double joint, one at the lower part of the neck and one at the upper as well. A really nice range of motion out of that. It can emote very nicely, and of course his little earpieces are on joints as well, so you can get even more motion out of your B. Now let's take a look at the shoulders themselves. They are on a very nice butterfly joint. They come out quite a long way actually, that's really surprising. And going forward, they are on a ratchet. This piece can also move out of the way, so you get even more range of motion. Now, as I said, bits and pieces will move. That will surprise you in hand. Same with this piece right here. It can get out of the way, so you can get it even further up. You have a swivel at the bicep, a very nice double bend at the elbow there. It's a little bit hindered. This piece does sort of butt up into it, and be careful of this piece right here. It is rather fragile. You have a swivel at the forearm, and the fingers and hand are fully articulated. You get a bunch of range of motion out of that right there. Now in terms of the waist itself, it is on a double joint. There's one up here and there's one at the lower part as well, but the crunch you can get out of this thing is just absolutely phenomenal. Take a look at that. You wouldn't expect to be able to get that out of a normal figure with actual clothing, let alone a huge chunky bot like this right here. Very impressive. It does also pivot very nicely, both at the lower part, as you can see right there, and at the upper part as well. So again, emoting, you can definitely do it with B. He says a lot with not a lot of movement, but just know that he can move quite a lot as well. I said a lot a bunch of times there. Either way, in terms of the legs, these pieces do move out of the way, so they go out quite a way. They are very stiff and sturdy joints because these feet are fully die cast, so they definitely need to be. Going forward, you get a ratchet as well. You can of course pivot them outward and then go up even further, which is very impressive. Very nice and stiff again. Swivel at the upper thigh. This piece moves independently, so you can get it right out of the way for your posing needs. You have a very reasonable double bend at the knee, and look at all that detail that's revealed. You've got a piston down here, you've got gears and ratchets and bits and pieces. It looks absolutely awesome. Look at those pieces move. The engineering on this guy is absolutely spectacular. Now in terms of the feet themselves, there's also a bunch going in here as well. You do have a pivot there. It does also rotate, swivel around and come out a little bit, it looks like, and the toe can also move, and it is made out of die cast, which is absolutely awesome. Now, of course, this review wouldn't be complete without a side-by-side comparison to the deluxe scale Bumblebee on the right there. Now, initially, when the premium scale B was announced, I wasn't all that interested. I thought it was just an upscaled version of the deluxe one. There was so much detail already in that one. It's a testament to how good it is that I didn't think I was going to need the bigger version. However, now having it in hand, I can tell that they absolutely didn't just upscale the smaller one. There are so many bits and pieces that are different between the two, so much more detail in the bigger version that I've really fallen in love with it. I really love all of the little bits and pieces that can move. It's so surprising. You just sort of move a limb and another piece moves out of the way that you weren't expecting to do so, and it just absolutely is. And I hate to use this word, but it is kind of magical. Seeing this thing, a CGI render looking piece that's so accurate to the movie, being able to hold it in your hands, manipulate it in so many different ways, get into the pose that looks just right in this bigger scale, absolutely is one of the best things that comes from owning such awesome collectible pieces, such as this Bumblebee right here. Just wrapping up on the Threezero premium scale Bumblebee figure, I for one am super impressed with the attention to detail and engineering work that has gone into this guy right here. He absolutely blows away, in my opinion, any other version of Bumblebee. Now I know the deluxe version is still absolutely fantastic. I love mine, it really won't be going anywhere, it definitely has a place on my shelf, but this guy takes what was great about him in the smaller format and just absolutely takes it to the nth degree. The detail, as I said, is amazing. The fact that you can even pull off a crouching pose like this on such a big figure, this is something that you can't even do with fully articulated, fully jointed action figures, and taking into account all of the bits and pieces, all of the armor plates and car parts that are all over this guy, that is a feat of engineering that I can't even fathom how long it took Threezero to get this dialed in. For me, that is one of the most impressive pieces, let alone the fact that you get a bunch of light-up accessories, interchangeable parts, and of course the fact that they are going to be expanding this line. It's not going to be just Bumblebee and that's it. You're going to be getting Optimus Prime, Blitzwing hopefully, Soundwave in this bigger scale would be amazing, and fingers crossed for even more characters. So as I said earlier, you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you were a fan of this movie not to go out and pick up this B. He is really that darn good. Either way, if you are looking to pick up either your own deluxe or premium scale Bumblebees, they are going up right now with toyswonderland.com. Link for that is down in the description below, so definitely go ahead and check them out. Also, while you're down there, why not check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the brand new awesome Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.